I knew I'd never make it home that night. I stood in the elevator going up to the 14th floor where I'd worked for 3 years as a data analyst, and I just knew with absolute clarity that I wouldn't be going home after my shift ended at 6. My name is Cole Brennan, and I'm not someone who believes in premonitions or gut feelings or any of that supernatural stuff. I'm a numbers guy. I deal in facts and data and provable outcomes. But standing in that elevator with my coffee in one hand and my laptop bag in the other, I felt something I'd never experienced before. A deep, unshakable knowledge that today was different, that something was coming, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. The elevator dinged and I stepped out into the familiar gray carpeted hallway of Meridian Analytics. Everything looked exactly the same as it did every other Monday. Nothing was out of place, nothing felt wrong, but that certainty stayed with me like a weight pressing down on my chest. I sat down at my desk and booted up my computer, going through the same morning routine I'd done 1,000 times before, but the feeling persisted, growing stronger as the morning wore on. I kept catching myself looking at the clock, watching the minutes tick by like I was counting down to something. Around 11, my boss Leonard called me into his office. He was a nervous guy in his 50s who wore the same 3 ties on rotation and always had coffee breath. I grabbed my notepad and headed to his corner office, expecting notes about the quarterly report. Instead, he closed the door behind me with an expression I couldn't quite read. "Cole, I need to talk to you about something sensitive," he started, adjusting his glasses. "There's been an issue flagged in the system. Some irregularities in data access logs from your terminal." My stomach dropped. "What kind of irregularities?" Leonard pulled up something on his computer and turned the monitor so I could see. Rows of login data, timestamps, file access records. "Someone's been accessing classified client files after hours using your credentials. The IT security team noticed it last Thursday during a routine audit. They've been monitoring since then, and it's happened 3 more times over the weekend." I stared at the screen, my brain trying to process what he was showing me. Those were my login credentials, my employee ID, but I hadn't been in the office since Friday at 6. I'd spent the weekend at Nina's apartment helping her paint her bedroom. "That wasn't me," I said, hearing how defensive I sounded. "I haven't logged in remotely all week. I was with my girlfriend all weekend. She can verify that." Leonard nodded slowly. "I believe you, Cole, but someone is using your access to look at files they shouldn't have access to. Client financial data, proprietary algorithms, stuff that's way above your clearance level. The company has to take this seriously." He explained that IT was going to conduct a full investigation, that my computer would need to be analyzed, that I might need to sit down with security and possibly with law enforcement. In the meantime, my network access was being temporarily suspended. Around noon, 2 people from IT showed up at my desk with a cart and started disconnecting my computer tower. They were polite but efficient, bagging the equipment while other employees pretended not to stare. I heard whispers starting already. After IT left with my computer, I just sat at my empty desk, staring at the clean rectangle where my monitor had been. That morning, certainty crashed back over me. This was it. This was why I wasn't going home tonight. At 3, Leonard called me back to his office. This time, there were 2 other people in the room, a woman from corporate HR and a man from security who asked me to walk through my activities over the past week. When the interview finally ended, the HR woman told me I was being placed on immediate administrative leave. I needed to collect my personal items, turn in my badge, and leave the building. Security would escort me out. Standing on the sidewalk outside the building where I'd spent 40 hours a week for the past 3 years, I felt completely untethered. It was only 4:30. I'd been right this morning. I wasn't going home at my usual time. Everything had changed, just like I'd somehow known it would. I sat in my car trying to figure out what to do next when my phone buzzed with a call from the security guy. "Glenn. Cole, listen very carefully. You're in danger. The investigation uncovered something much bigger than simple data theft. The files accessed using your credentials contained information about a federal investigation. Whoever used your access was looking at classified information related to an ongoing FBI operation, and they made sure it would look like you were the one stealing it. And that's when I realized my girlfriend wasn't who she claimed to be. The rest of the story is linked below.